Hello and welcome to Success in Online Learning. I just wanted to share a few ideas. I'm Dr. Scott Shaw. It's my pleasure to be with you. I'm excited that we'll be in the class together over the next several weeks, and I am here for you and wanted to share some ideas, so let's begin. Online learning goes fast, so when in doubt, always begin with the syllabus. The syllabus is really the contract that we're working from over the next generally 8 weeks, depending on the course. So when in doubt, what's coming up, what's due, what are the learning outcomes, that's all going to be in the syllabus. Plan your week and note your weekly lesson requirements. So you want to make sure that you plan enough time and budget that in your daily routine or your weekly routine so that you know you're going to have enough time. What often happens is we undercut ourselves and by thinking that, I'll need maybe 2 hours to write this paper, and we get into it and 2, 3, 4 hours later we're still working on it. So be sure to plan ahead and expect that probably your assignments or your discussions are going to take a little longer than planned. And the more you budget that into your time or your schedule, it's going to be helpful for you to feel on top of your game. Capitalize on online asynchronous flexibility. That's one of the beautiful things about online learning. As well, we don't have times where we have to be online at a certain time, for instance, for an online Zoom meeting or something where everybody has to be all at once at the same time. So that's a wonderful thing. It allows us to have flexibility in our schedules and work and life and family commitments and everything else. So it really is a wonderful thing. As long as we budget our time well, the flexibility is really what makes this possible for most of us. Contact your professor as needed. So you have questions along the way. I'm here to help. Certainly don't be afraid to reach out, and I'm going to give my cell phone at the end of this presentation. My email address is there. It's also in the class forum. Note as well in LoudCloud that there's the individual forum, which is private, and then there's the questions to instructor, which is really for everybody to see. So if it's something that is sensitive, absolutely send it in the individual forum, or send me an email or just give me a call, and I would love to talk to you about it. This is from studytactics.com, and some of the top 10 best practices for distance learning. So this is us. Count the time cost. So I'd mentioned that previously, but planning ahead and making sure you have enough time to do a good job and to do your best work is going to help you to have less stress, less feeling of overwhelm as you're doing discussions and papers and what those are. Have a regular study schedule. That's going to be important as well. Having a certain time of day that you use is also a great strategy to help get your mind and your motivation ready to go when it's time to do classwork. Be sure to read class materials carefully. So whether it's, the announcement at the beginning of the week, or going back to the syllabus, or looking at a discussion prompt or a prompt for a paper, make sure you read it carefully. So sometimes I find myself having to deduct points from papers, especially when there's several things that need to be on the paper and some of those are missing. I would add to that as well, if there's an associated rubric with any assignment, be sure to read the rubric, because that's how assignments or discussions will be graded. So to ensure that we're all on the same page, always read the instructions, the syllabus, and the rubric when it's available very carefully. Be interactive. So the more that you are online and engaged with your classmates, the more you're going to have a positive learning experience. So we think about the discussions especially, you'll have an initial post, and for each discussion you want to respond to at least 2 of your peers, and that would be a minimum, but certainly, if you read something that piques your interest, or a fellow classmate that has something that's interesting, certainly respond to that. So you don't have to necessarily limit yourself at 2 peer responses. You can certainly go above and beyond. I'm also very impressed when you add reference support, and everything that we do in our programs are in APA style. So you should have a copy of the APA manual. There's many good helps online as well, but we use references, not works cited or resources or anything else. So it's always references, and there's a standard format that is going to help your papers be uniform. And I would say if you're not sure about APA style, any help that you get that's going to help your writing, and writing in APA style is going to help you in all of your classes throughout your degree program. So I can't emphasize how important it is to learn and to practice APA writing. Create a study zone. Maybe it's an office or a desk or a spot at the table at a certain time. If you have that certain spot that's separated, it's set apart, it's going to help you get in the right mindset for studying. Also, it's important to know who our personal support people are, who are our encouragers that are, they're in our corner and they're helping to support our work, and utilize those when we get discouraged or frustrated or feel like there's a lot of work coming down the pike, and have that extra positive emotional boost can be valuable. Proofread, check your work. This is probably as much written for me as anybody else. I've often written emails, even just today, and I write something and I look at it and I read it and that's not what I meant to write. And I go back and I proofread it and double check and make sure that it's cogent and coherent. And then all of a sudden, okay, now I can send it. But the same thing with papers and discussions. When you're writing, be sure to run the spell checker and read it through once or twice to make sure it's exactly as you want it before you hit send or submit. And then you'll know that you've missed those minor errors along the way. Have the required equipment. I've heard from students that have tried to write papers on cell phones. It's not the easiest way to do it. So knowing whether you need Wi-Fi or a laptop or a computer, or whatever you're going to need to make sure that you can do the work and you can do it in the most efficient way possible. Because of course our work is flexible, but if it's taking you twice as long to do it because you're lacking the proper equipment, it's going to be an extra challenge for you. So having the required equipment is going to help you in the long run. Also, taking responsibility for our own learning. That's important. So we embrace lifelong learning. We're all learning. So the fact that we're in school, it's really just a chapter of our lives. We're going to be learning as long as we're interacting with people. So make it a point to learn every day, grow every day, and keep learning. When in doubt, please let me know. You have questions, you're not sure about something, maybe you need some encouragement. My email, scott.shaw@my.gcu.edu. It's also in the course page. You can also reach out to me independently in the individual forum, or if it's a question that you think everyone would benefit from, certainly put it in the questions to instructor. As well, my cell phone is here. It's also posted in the course information. But if you put a +1 on there, I can be reached text, chat, WhatsApp, WeChat, Skype, you name it. I'm here to support your learning if you have questions. So don't be a stranger, and welcome to the class, and I'm glad you're here. Blessings.